Blanketed with snow and glazed with ice, homes in Texas are burning. This part of the United States isn't used to freezing. The winter storm has created chaos. Electricity grids have failed, leaving millions of people without power in dangerously cold temperatures. A family of 4 died in a house fire near Houston while using their fireplace to keep warm. Hospitals have been overwhelmed by hundreds of people suffering from carbon monoxide poisoning, and hundreds of thousands have been advised to boil water after treatment plants went down. And it's not just Texas that's affected. Emergencies have been declared in several states across the central and southern U.S. The storm brought thundersnow and tornadoes, including one in North Carolina that killed several people. President Joe Biden is promising additional emergency resources.
Good morning from the South Padre Island Convention Center. Day 3 of sea turtle rescue operations continue. We got power and water back at 3 o'clock last night. We are probably somewhere in the neighborhoods of upwards of 2,500 turtles. We've expanded down both wings. The heat is coming back up in the corridor here on South Padre Island. We brought them to the convention center to get their core temperatures back up, check them out, and then release them when the water warms up. Volunteers continue to recover cold-stunned sea turtles, bring them to the South Padre Island Convention Center, where we'll try to slowly warm them up and save as many as we can.
The Justice Department has charged 3 North Korean military intelligence officials of using cyber attacks to steal $1.3 billion in crypto and traditional currencies. Now, the 3 accused allegedly created malicious cryptocurrency applications, opening backdoors into victims' computers, hacked into companies' marketing and trading digital currencies like Bitcoin, and developed a blockchain platform to evade sanctions and secretly raise funds. The Justice Department said that the accused worked out of North Korea, Russia and China to attempt to steal $1.3 billion by hacking computers and using spear phishing techniques. Now, they also allegedly hacked into and robbed digital currency exchanges in Slovenia and Indonesia and extorted a New York exchange of $11.8 million.
A court in Belarus has sentenced 2 journalists to 2 years in prison after they filmed live coverage of the protests against President Alexander Lukashenko for a news channel based in Poland. Katsiarina Andreeva and Andrea Chultsova are Belarus nationals who worked for Belsat. They were arrested at an apartment in November, from where they had been filming protests taking place over the death of a protester who was killed several days earlier. Their detention has been condemned by international human rights organisations. The 2 journalists appeared in a cage at the hearing on Thursday, making V for victory signs. Both pleaded not guilty after being accused of orchestrating the demonstrations by filming them. Mobile phones, microphones, video cameras and flash drives were all presented as evidence by the prosecution.
We got the information that there is a terrorist attack in some of the buildings.
We have given the Taliban the opportunity to come and express what they want through peace. But the Taliban choose to use violence, use suicide attacks. They're now entering the building. This is the response force. We have all the preparedness to be able to finish that attack in minimum amount of time with minimum casualties.
Well, Israeli cabinet ministers were summoned Tuesday evening to an urgent meeting amid intensive talks between top Israeli and Russian officials on a humanitarian issue pertaining to Syria. Some ministers saying that the meeting, whose details have been put under embargo by the IDF military censor, revolved around a sensitive security issue. While the details of the meeting remain unknown, Israeli Foreign Minister Gabi Ashkenazi also had a phone conversation with his Russian counterpart, Sergei Lavrov. Ashkenazi emphasizing Russia's vital role in preventing Iran's progression towards a nuclear capability, as well as its efforts of enrichment in the region. Knesset members have approved a $15 billion arms deal with the United States, set to include a squadron of advanced F-35 fighter jets. The package also reportedly includes components for the Arrow missile system and the Iron Dome defense system. This would be the first foreign military sale to Israel announced under the new administration of President Biden, but the deal was likely initially laid out during the Trump administration.
Years of underserviced and dilapidated infrastructure have taken their toll on the Vaal River. The South African Human Rights Commission calls the sewage spill in the river, which provides 19 million South Africans with water, a crisis. The Commission says the river has been polluted beyond an acceptable standard, threatening the ecosystem with some fish facing extinction. Furthermore, the river is said to pose a health hazard, not fit human consumption. The sewage spills has also played a role in the decrease of tourism and recreational activities near the river, denting the area's struggling economy. But as South African Human Rights Commission visits the Sebokeng wastewater treatment plant, it hopes government will act on its recommendations to save the Vaal River.
This is Feshloon. It's known as the Spark of Tripoli. In 2011, people here were among the first in Tripoli to stage peaceful protests. Wednesday marks the 10-year anniversary of an 8-month armed revolution that toppled longtime leader Muammar Gaddafi. Here, those who died are honored and celebrated as heroes who liberated Libyans from a dictatorship. Celebrations are happening across the country, but it's here in Martyr Square where the biggest crowds have gathered. Despite years of conflict and political divisions, for Libyans, this is a day of joy. In Tripoli, people sing songs of victory and freedom, not only against Gaddafi, but also Haftar.
In a dramatic escalation of its conflict with the Australian government, Facebook has now blocked all media content in the country. Australians woke up to a pretty empty news feed on their Facebook timeline earlier this morning after the social media giant blocked all content in the country, escalating its dispute with the Australian government over paying for content. Now, Australia's government has been quick to react. It has called the move as heavy-handed and completely wrong.
Facebook was wrong. Facebook's actions were unnecessary. They were heavy-handed and they will damage its reputation here in Australia. Their decision to block Australians' access to government sites, be they about support through the pandemic, mental health, emergency services, the Bureau of Meteorology, were completely unrelated to the media code, which is yet to pass through the Senate.
Well, actually, you covered there a lot of the most important things about her, which is that she is sort of an Olympic hero of Japan's from bygone Olympics, and she's also has been serving as Olympics minister for some time. She has had a fairly long career as a politician in the ruling Liberal Democratic Party, where she's generally been pretty respected and avoided most controversy. And because the fact she has been serving as Olympics minister means that, she's probably one of the best people to step into the role vacated by Yoshiro Mori, because she's very familiar with all the issues and all of the debates.